This is
City News.
It's 4 o'clock. This is Nina Marinkovic for City News. Thames Water has been given its lowest rating yet, scoring 1 star on water quality. According to the Environment Agency, the UK's largest water company requires improvement. A Thames Water spokesperson said it will take at least a decade to achieve this scale of change required. The British Medical Association has announced that doctors in England and Wales will strike for 5 days in November. BMA chief Steve McManus acknowledged that the strike will negatively impact patients and staff.
This, primarily affects kind of our patients, delays some of their access to healthcare and treatment, and it affects the wider staff group.
3 suspected Russian spies have been arrested in West and Central London this morning. The men, who are all in their 40s, were detained under the National Security Act. Counter-terrorism officers are leading the investigation. The number of murders and manslaughters in England and Wales has fallen to its lowest level since police records began. 518 murders were recorded in the first half of this year, dropping 6% from 2024. Today's crime figures also reveal a 5% fall in knife crime and a 13% rise in shoplifting. King Charles and Queen Camilla attended a historic prayer service with Pope Leo XIV in the Sistine Chapel in Rome today. This is the first time an English monarch has prayed with the Pope in over 500 years. Lord Elliot of Mickle Fell said to City News that the symbol is inspiring.
We're facing many world problems and many challenges in the world. So to have these 2 major world figures and religious leaders together discussing these problems and praying for them, I think is a great thing.
We'll hear more from Lord Elliot later on in the programme. Bridget Jones is getting a statue in London's Leicester Square. Renee Zellweger's iconic character will stand alongside recognisable faces such as Mr. Bean. That's the latest from City News.
News local to you. This is City.
Good afternoon and welcome to City News. I'm Megan Robinson.
And I'm Christian Oresti. Coming up today on City News Radio, our top story. The Met Police are adding some new tech to their crime-fighting fleet. The Met will begin trialling the use of drones across London as a new part of their emergency response.
We speak to Londoners about what the King's trip to the Vatican means to them.
London is host to people from every nation and every continent on the globe.
Brent grapples with gambling, but is it a wider health problem for Londoners?
This is a public health emergency. If we want to tackle mental health, especially within young men, we need to tackle gambling.
And we'll have more of London's top stories in politics, transport, weather and sport later in the programme. But now to our top story today. For the first time, police in London will be sending drones to emergencies from their control room. At the moment, if officers want to use them to help find suspects or to see the scene of the emergency, they have to send an officer to fly to them. But a trial started in Islington today, where they'll be flown remotely. Constanza de Mello is there for us. Tell us more about these drones.
Yeah, so in Islington, the Metropolitan Police is testing a new way of responding to 999 emergencies by using remotely controlled drones that can take off without an officer on site. It's the first project of its kind in London. We are told the drones are quicker, quieter, cheaper, and more environmentally friendly than police helicopters, but still deliver the same results. Officers say they can help trace suspects, search for missing people, or capture video evidence at a scene within just 2 minutes of a call. The pilot program called Drone as First Responder is part of a national police initiative led by the National Police Chiefs Council and will expand to the West End and Hyde Park later this year.
How does it work?
So the Met says when a 999 call comes in, trained operators in the control room can launch a drone remotely. So each drone sits inside a sealed box on a police building rooftop, charging and ready to go. So once it's launched, it flies itself to the scene, streams live video back to officers, and then returns automatically to its base once the job is done. Officers in charge of the project say it will make policing faster and more precise. They tell us it helps them with logistics too, in terms of how many officers they need to send. They insist it's not about constant surveillance and that any footage they don't need for evidence will be deleted after 28 days.
And what has the reaction been?
So I talked with a few locals here in Angel, Islington. about their opinion on the matter, and we found out quite divided opinions. Not everyone is convinced. Some say that it could blur the line between emergency response and public surveillance. But the Met insists the drones are only used after a 999 call and are not watching people day to day. So this woman isn't convinced. So.
I would say overall, I just feel like we're turning into Big Brother to another level. Like CCTV is
bad
normal.
enough.
It's bad enough, but it's normal, and I can understand the safety of it. But where it's coming to where we're having,
and do you think it's going to make any difference? Not really.
No.
But this local is a bit more positive.
Like the people that moan about privacy are the ones that are trying to hide something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if you've got nothing to hide, then you don't worry about it.
Next.
So the Met hopes to expand the program to the West End and Hyde Park by the end of the year. So police say the program could be a game changer for policing in London, saving time, money, and even lives. Similar trials are already running in forces like Norfolk, West Midlands, and Thames Valley.
That was Constanza de Mello reporting from Islington, where London's first police drones could soon change the way emergencies are handled across the capital.
A member of the House of Lords has told City News the King's state visit to the Vatican is a significant sign of unity in challenging times. King Charles and Pope Leo have prayed together, the first time in 500 years the heads of the English and Catholic churches have done so since Henry VIII split from Rome in the Reformation. If you were in the Sistine Chapel today, this is what you would have heard.
O God, make speed to save us. Lord, make haste to help us.
You are worthy, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honour and power, for you created all things.
Let's get more on this now with Lucy Hadlow. Lucy, what's the latest?
Hi, Christian. Yes, King Charles has become the first British monarch to pray with the Pope for nearly half a century. The ceremony in Rome's Sistine Chapel is being seen as a major breakthrough for relations between the English and Catholic churches, a reconciliation many years after Henry VIII split from Rome in 1534. The two leaders met this morning and exchanged gifts, and the King and Queen have also gone to a service in the Basilica of St. Paul, a fundamental site of the Christian faith.
What significance does this event hold for London?
Well, I've been speaking to Paul Scully, former Minister for London. He shared with me how this historic day should inspire and strengthen the city's already pluralistic nature.
London is host to people from every nation and every continent on the globe and every religion. So to see the leader of the Church of England and the leader of the Catholic faith not just visit each other, but pray with each other, alongside each other, should inspire all of us, and I hope provide a route for action, and not just interfaith dialogue, but actually inspire real action, meaningful action that brings people together, finding what binds them rather than what divides them.
We've also heard from Lord Eliot of Micklefell. He's a member of the House of Lords. He was born and raised in the Church of England, but his wife is Catholic, his kids go to a Catholic school. He agrees with the whole commentary around this event, keyword being reconciliation, especially in the face of current global challenges.
We're facing many world problems and many challenges of the world. So to have these two major world figures and religious leaders together discussing these problems and praying for them, I think is a great thing.
What's next on the agenda for the state visit?
So the King will receive his recognition as Royal Comforter, a historic role that was previously held by the British monarchy for the preservation of St Paul's tomb in the Basilica. And then the state visit will end with the King attending a reception at the Seminary Pontifical Beda College, which is a training ground for priests from across the Commonwealth.
Great, thanks Lucy.
A senior Labour MPs told City News young men in London are taking their own lives as they can't cope with their gambling addiction. Dawn Butler wants it treated as a public health emergency. Councillors in her constituency of Brent say they'll no longer allow new adult gaming centres to open in the borough, but the industry is not happy about it. Luana Basso reports.
Brent is spending millions tackling the social costs of gambling. The borough has 81 licensed betting shops and adult gaming centres, more than banks or supermarkets in some areas. According to the council, gambling harms cost its economy more than £14 million a year.
They should use that money to fix the pavement, because I can even push my baby buggy without getting stuck. It's ridiculous.
This station is Willesden Green. In Willesden Green, residents say the high street has changed beyond recognition.
There are no banks left in Willesden Green. We have gambling places everywhere.
That's partly because of the aim to permit rule, which means council must approve gambling venues if they meet national standards.
We, as a council, have to permit the actual application, and we can't stop that.
Brent MP Dawn Butler wants the rule reformed. She calls gambling addiction a public health emergency.
And for me, this is a public health emergency. If we want to tackle mental health, especially within young men, we need to tackle gambling. We want to tackle suicide rates, we need to tackle gambling.
As soon as I got the money, I'm there. It's like the other addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction. It's worse than all of them.
The industry insists it's already tightly regulated. In a written statement, BACTA CEO John Bollom challenges what he calls negative narrative promoted by Brent Council and reaffirms the sector's commitment to high standards of player protection. Brent has since blocked new gaming shops and secured £1.5 million in government funding to tackle gambling harm.
It's good they're doing something, because these places pop up faster than they close.
This latest win for Brent could set a precedent for other London boroughs, as recent research found that more than a third of councils didn't inspect a single gambling venue in the past year.
Thank you, Luana, for that report.
This is City Radio.
This week, the London Literature Festival begins in Southwark, including guest speakers like Malala, Reese Witherspoon, and former US VP Kamala Harris, who will be speaking tonight in front of a live audience. Are there any big books being released during the festival, Megan?
Yes, Kamala's tell-all book about her loss in the 2024 US elections titled 107 Days is coming out, as is Reese Witherspoon's new thriller, Gone Before Goodbye, that she wrote alongside Pandora Sykes. This is the sixth book that she has published over the last 11 years. This isn't the only big book event happening this weekend in London.
That's right, Megan. London Comic Con is on this weekend, with an array of authors and stars from comic book adaptations attending the event, including the stars of Amazon's blockbuster show The Boys, which is a must-watch if you love all things comics. But watch your wallets. If you want a photo with the cast, it will set you back at least £240.
That's crazy. As always, so many fun events happening in London. Back to the biggest stories from today. Here's what's still to come in the programme. Paint the town green. Zach Polanski lays out his plan to win next year's London elections.
Our main objectives are getting the councillors who want to get in and also engaging with the new membership to build a bigger party here in London.
What new rickshaw rules mean for our roads?
If you want to be my lover. Nothing can run without regulation. Not only this business, every business.
And delays continue to disrupt passengers on the Northern Line.
Fix the damn tubes, please.
But first, City News investigates why the Met is shutting down its help desks.
This is City Radio.
A councillor has told City News women and girls are continuing to lose safe havens after plans to close another 10 counters at London's police stations were announced. The Met says they're not really used that much and the money would be better spent on neighbourhood officers. It means we'll end up with 27 desks. Georgia Hunt reports.
The Met Police are closing front desks across London. They say not many people use these front desks and that the money could be better spent elsewhere. 27 will remain open, but only 2 will be 24 hours. We spoke to MP Gareth Thomas.
I was extremely disappointed by that decision. I welcome the fact that there is significant police activity from South Harrow, and indeed that we've got extra police in our town centre.
While many stations remain open during the day, there's worry about the impact of closing them at night. While the Met say only 5% of crimes are reported to front desks, Councillor Goodwin Freeman believes they're vital.
It's a safe haven for women and girls if they're facing violence or being followed late at night. It's a place where people can go to get updates from crime or to get reassurance or get advice from the police, as well as, obviously, report a crime or go through the crime process. It's more than just reporting crime.
The worries are that this could affect some of the most vulnerable in society: the elderly, migrants, women and girls, and those who can't read and write. Social workers told us their concerns.
We're not looking at the impact it's going to have on the vulnerable, the hard to reach, and also the unseen.
After pushback from councils, there have been agreements to keep more front desks open, but under restricted hours. Hillingdon leader tells us his thoughts.
Having a police station that's open definitely helps people feel safer in their area. It is a symbol of law and order in the neighbourhood. Where public services generally can provide more efficient services online, we should do so.
But many are worried for their safety.
Our people are suffering on the streets. You only have to speak to the real people and they're in shock at what's going on. And nobody understands why.
If I was getting followed or I just needed to go to the closest police station and there was no one there, where would I go? Like, a phone call isn't necessarily going to help me. I need somewhere where I can go inside and protect myself.
I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't even know if I can submit something online, if I can speak to someone on the phone. How am I supposed to feel safe?
The Met says changes will make policing more efficient, but for many Londoners, concerns about safety continue to grow. Georgia Hunt, City News.
That was Georgia Hunt reporting.
The Greens have told City News that they want strongholds all over London. At the moment, Labour controls 17 of the 33 councils in the capital. But Callum Fowler, who's the Greens party officer for Southwark, says they're hoping to get in on the action at next year's elections. Nina Marinkovic reports.
Is London going green? A recent YouGov poll suggests so, with the Greens being ranked as Londoners' first choice political party. City News sat down with Callum Fowler, a Green Party officer for Southwark, who told us of the Green Party's goals for the 2026 London local elections.
We've had members soaring in the past few weeks, and that's only continues to happen. So our main objectives are getting the councillors who want to get in, and also engaging with the new membership to build a bigger party here in London.
But what do ordinary Londoners think? And what does this mean for Labour, who Zach Polanski has said the Greens were on track to supplant? City News took to the streets of London to find out.
I'd probably go for the Green Party.
It's the Independent Party.
Green Party. Aligns with a lot of my values, it focuses on poverty, what's going on in Gaza right now.
And Labour are now shifting to the centre, so they're just shifting in all the wrong ways.
City News reached out to Labour for comment and received no response. But speaking at the Labour List Party conference event, Turning the Rising Green Tide, Councillor Bella Sankey argued that Labour must fight back against the Green Party's so-called plastic progressives, with Labour peer Thangham Debonair adding that Labour could win back Green and Reform voters by campaigning on local issues. Callum Fowler, however, was unperturbed.
We are the challengers, especially in central London. It's Labour or the Green Party. And next May, we have the opportunity to actually show that in voting at the council elections, to show that London is a green city.
Thank you, Nina, for that report.
Black cab drivers have told City News driverless taxis won't be able to cope on London streets. US firm Waymo's bringing them in as soon as 2026, and they say they'll revolutionise the way we get around. They're going to look at like normal cars, except the driver's seat will be empty. It's the sensors, cameras and computer that's doing the work. Issy Raper reports.
Would you get into a taxi with no driver? Waymo, the Silicon Valley giant behind driverless taxis in the US, says Londoners could be doing just that by next year. Will's been driving a black cab since 2016 and told us he's not convinced Waymo knows what it's in for on London streets.
The roots of London are still based on what were built up after the Great Fire of London. You don't have the grids that they do in New York, LA and so on.
It's not feasible in London. It just won't work.
Elizabeth's driven taxis for years too, and for her, it's not just about getting from A to B.
There'll be no communication because there's no driver. If you're unhappy with the service that you've got, who are you going to speak to?
Kevin Vincent researches autonomous vehicles at Coventry University. He told us there's a reason Waymo is starting in the capital. If these cars can drive in London, they can survive anywhere.
Well, if it can be proven to operate in London, very, very happily run it anywhere in the country.
Kevin also explained the commercial interest in rolling out these taxis in London.
The main business case for operating self-driving vehicles as a public service is that there's basically a driver shortage. So trying to recruit drivers is hard. The driver is the most expensive part of the service. So removing from that creates a business case where you can operate services where previously you couldn't operate a service and give more people more accessibility.
London's cabbies have been here before. The arrival of Uber changed the industry entirely. The customers did come back to London's black cabs, back for the chat, the shortcuts, the unbeatable knowledge of London's roads. So, Will isn't panicking. Not yet.
Realistically,
Waymo coming out next year, whilst that is a pernicious epoch, immediately I can't see it impacting us. But for the Uber drivers, yeah, definitely.
By the end of 2026, Waymo says there'll be driverless taxis on London's roads. But it remains to be seen whether these robotic taxis can actually cope with the capital's lively streets.
That was Issy Raper reporting there.
This is City Radio.
Were you affected by a certain storm this morning? Weather warnings were put in place for Storm Benjamin across London today, but they've all been lifted. The storm originated in France and has left over 100,000 homes without power across the channel. Even though the Met has lifted the yellow warnings, it caused disruption in the capital and made the commute this morning tough for some Londoners. National Rail reports a tree falling on the track between Watford Junction and London Euston on the Overground service, cancelling or suspending all trains on the line for up to 4 hours during rush hour. There is some good news, however, as it looks as though the storm has passed through London with light showers forecast until 7 p.m.
Hate to say it, Chris, but it is a French storm, so I think it's actually pronounced Benjamin.
Well, it's something I'm thinking about during the report, Megan. And being from Belgium, I was inclined to say it with a proper French accent, but I have thought, nope. This is a British media outlet. Let's stick to English.
No, not at all. I think that we should pay its due respects. Tempête Benjamin. See, that sounds infinitely better than any storm that we've had in England. I was thinking of some this morning. Storm Dave, Storm Eddie, and Storm Fionnuala.
Completely agree. Whereas in France, they give their storms really cool names like Storm Daria, Storm Viviane, Storm Martin.
You're so right, Chris. Maybe that's just a rule of life. Everything sounds so much better in French, even the most mundane of English words.
Really? I think you're being a bit harsh on the Brits.
Okay, try me.
I don't know, rickshaw?
Pousse pousse.
Fair enough. What about the Champions League?
Ligue des Champions.
You know what? You're right, Megan. You've proven your point. Shame we can't do the rest of the broadcast in French. Now, back to a very British problem. We're covering the recent delays on the Northern Line.
There are still several delays on the Northern Line for a fourth day in a row. A signal failure at Stockwell is being blamed, but it hasn't been fixed. Sophia Klein is outside Angel Station for us. What's going on?
Hi, Chris and Megan. So, let me take you back to this weekend. On Sunday evening, passengers first started reporting delays on the Northern Line, and 4 days later, the delays still continued to affect the whole line. TfL says the problem's been caused by a signal failure in Stockwell, and that its engineers are working really hard to identify and fix the issue. Service controllers have been manually guiding trains through the area to keep the line running, and that's what's been causing all the hold-up.
And you've been speaking to commuters at the station. What do they think?
Well, Chris, commuters stuck in the rush hour earlier were not too happy. There was a sense of frustration, lots of people saying they were going to be late for work, for college, and obviously rush hours are really busy on an ordinary day. So it's been extra busy again, with commuters not too impressed with the crowds. This was their message to TfL.
Fix the damn tubes, please.
Yeah, I think we're paying so much that there shouldn't be delays, but there is no other way to get to university, so yeah. I don't know what to do.
Well, what now? Do we have a solution?
So TfL have not yet confirmed when they'll be able to resolve the failure at Stockwell. They're advising commuters to avoid the Northern Line altogether and just to use other routes. They say these routes will be quicker and are reminding people that tickets are accepted on buses, trams, and other trains. But for many, that's not really an option.
I could take the bus, but with the traffic, especially for a 9 a.m. lecture, it will make me really late. And the rain, I don't want to walk in that.
I'm looking at the departure boards across the network now, and there are also minor delays on the Jubilee and Central lines, and the Piccadilly lines partly closed.
Thank you, Sophia.
A Clean Air charity has told City News plans to make a part of South London greener aren't ambitious enough. Southwark's council's getting rid of cars from some streets, putting traffic calming measures in others, and introducing more green spaces. But Mums for Lungs says all it needs to happen sooner than the 2030 target. Mila Borsma has more details for us.
So Mila, tell us more.
Well, so in 2023, Southwark Council introduced the Streets for People strategy with the promise for cleaner air, healthy travel options, green spaces and every school to have a safe school street by 2026. A school street is basically a road outside of school with temporary restriction on traffic at school drop-off and pick-up times. They also improve air quality and eliminate road dangers for school children. But 3 years later, safe school streets are still on hold.
So what do campaigners think?
Well, we've been hearing from Mums for Lungs, a Brixton-born charity campaigning for clean air for children. Founded after a group of parents became aware of the toxic levels of air pollution on the streets around their babies, Mums for Lungs campaigns for cleaner air across the UK. Founder and director Jemima Hartshawn says she's concerned.
Children on their way to school are exposed to the highest levels of air pollution throughout their days.
Mums for Lungs says 25% of London's rush hour traffic is made up of parents taking their children to school. By closing streets, the council hopes parents are encouraged to walk instead of drive. Residents also push the importance of the initiative.
Well, there's a lot of traffic jam, but we can cope with that because we need the safety of the children.
So what's the council's response?
Well, the council originally told local parents the initiative would be complete by 2026. Although the authority recognises they have fallen behind, they are now speeding up things in the coming months. They also assured they still want safer and less polluted areas around schools.
Thank you, Mila. Pedicab drivers say they feel they're a step closer to becoming a legit form of transport in London. TfL wants to regulate them for the first time, and they've just finished asking the public what they think of the plans. Lily Wallen's been to meet cab drivers in Chinatown.
Carrito, yes, go, Carrito. It's magic and it's fun and it's a tourist attraction, like, let's be honest.
What's garish, loud, sometimes fluffy, and always unregulated? Love them or loathe them, pedicabs have been a fixture of central London streets for 3 decades. As TfL gear up for a first ever clampdown, things could soon change.
Nothing can run without regulation. Not only this business, every business.
The London Transport Committee, TfL's oversight body, have confirmed the consultation focuses on annual inspections, vehicle safety checks, time-based fares, and safe pick-up and drop-off spots.
Rule and regulation is very good for us. It's safety for driver, customer, everybody, yeah.
Ahmed explains his journey into pedicab driving, having moved to London to support his family in Syria.
I spoke with council many times to get license, not for this actually, for street trading. They told me it's very easy to get one, but it's long list.
So because it was too difficult to get the street trading license, did you decide to do this because you didn't need to get a license?
Yeah.
For Ahmed, the absence of regulation made the pedicab trade an easy way to earn extra income. But he and Khan explain the lack of rules also brings problems.
Do you think that a lot of people have a wrong idea of what this is like?
Yeah, because there's no license. All people do this job.
Some drivers are very scammer, yeah. On the other hand, some customers are like very dangerous. When we drive, we drop them, they don't give us money.
Those mixed reputations aren't imagined. Alex, a pedicab frequenter, shares her experience.
You know that if you ask them to take you to strippers, they'll take you there for free because they're all owned by the same underbelly organisation.
Far from fearful about a downturn in business, hard-working drivers are eagerly anticipating regulations as a way to legitimise their work.
If people know the price, then they will come willingly. We need to rise our industry, you know? People love it. We need entertainment, you know? If the regulation come, more people gonna come.
That was Lily Wallen reporting in Soho.
This is City Radio.
And now James will bring us all the latest on this week's sports news.
Yeah, hi guys. Lots happening in the world of sport this week. Liverpool avoided losing 5 matches in a row for the first time in 72 years by thrashing Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League. They won 5-1 in Germany, but striker Alexander Isak was forced off at half-time. Boss Arne Slot says they'll still have to be careful getting their record signing up to speed. Elsewhere, Chelsea hammered Ajax 5-1, while Tottenham remain unbeaten following a goalless draw in Monaco. And finally, the third T20 between England's cricketers and New Zealand was a washout. The hosts had made it to 38-1 in just under 4 overs in Auckland before rain stopped play. No result means Harry Brooks tourists claim a 1-0 win in the 3-match series.
Thanks, James. Sounds like a great night for English football last night. Anything that we can look forward to this weekend?
Yeah, loads to look forward to, guys. Rugby League is coming to Wembley this weekend. England are taking on Australia in Rugby League's version of the Ashes. 50,000 seats have been sold. Huge crowds for a Rugby League match in London. We've also got Crystal Palace in action tonight against Larnaca at Selhurst Park. And newly appointed Sean Dyche takes charge in his first game as Nottingham Forest manager. The new boss is aiming to get them through some much-needed points in the Europa League. Speaking of much-needed points, West Ham travel to Leeds United tomorrow night in what could be the first 6-pointer of this Premier League season. even if we're only in October. It comes after West Ham fans protested against the club owner David Sullivan on Monday.
Thank you, James.
Right, that's all from us here at City News Radio today. You can keep up on date on London's top stories by following us on Instagram, X, and TikTok at City London News. Up next, it's Showbiz FM with your hosts Nina and Rob. They'll be taking you through some of London's hottest shows and how to watch them this weekend. That was City News. I'm Chris Uresti.
And I'm Megan Robinson. Have a wonderful evening.
News local to you. This is City.